one of my new team members. He's only 24 years old, showed up to the team event on Saturday, met my man, Sam Harris, who is the best looking guy on the call. I don't care what any of you guys say. And he is absolutely a rock star too. He invited 4 people. I don't know if they all showed up. Who cares? The point is to do the inviting, because that is what it is. We do the activity. The results we don't worry about as much. And then, of course, we can always refine that, but that's amazing. Jason Chudej, if he's on the call, I can't see because I don't know, but he invited 2 people. One of them showed up and sat through the presentation, and I think is coming on. I think Sam's new guy, Edgar, is also on the call. So how amazing is that? Brand new guy with brand new guys. So awesome job there. Meredith, if you're on the call, very awesome job showing up to the event on Saturday. Just too many great things. Rebecca Jones showing up to the event on Saturday. She was one of the leaders talking to Charles Thompson and talking to a bunch of cool people, Chris Bernasso. It was absolutely amazing. So thank you guys for letting me shout out some folks. If I missed anybody, Jared, great job sitting in on the call today, and appreciate you guys.
Love it, man. Absolutely love it. I'll give you 2 quick shout outs as well. You had the most team members at the Power Day as anybody in the organization. So that speaks to your leadership, man, getting people plugged in. The second one, and another one just for you, man, you are currently still sitting at the number 3 spot for recruiting for the entire company nationwide, guys. Huge. I
so
bet
who do I need to kill to get the number 1?
Go check the leaderboard. You'll see them. I saw a bunch of people do this. But I have no doubt you're pushing for that number 1 spot, man. So keep leading strong. All right, we got time for 1 or 2 more. Maureen, go for it.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
I'm at a train station, so headed back to Fort Lauderdale. So shout out to Rosalie and Bill. They went to Power Day with me in Orlando. Rosalie had 2 guests that are going to sign this week, and then went to a lunch afterwards. 2 more. So one coming on as an ambassador and another seller who's already got like 12 bills lined up to pop in the system. So she's hustling. And Bill finished his tier 1 this morning. Amy is a brand new seller on our team, started a few days ago. So she's on the call. So hi, Amy. I'm excited that she gets to meet everyone. And yeah, I think that's it for now.
Awesome.
Oh, Mark is not on because he's currently with Jordan Shaw closing a deal on a Zoom for California.
Awesome. You guys are on fire.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let me jump in and share my screen. Safe travels back to Fort Lauderdale, by the way. And I appreciate you plugging in, even though you are traveling. Can you guys see my screen? Okay, awesome. Okay, cool. Love all the shout outs. It's cool too. The list keeps getting longer and longer as we do it, which is what this thing's all about. It means there are a lot of people in this organization who are flat out winning, which is so cool. As you guys know, right, we're going to cover a couple housekeeping things before we jump into today's training that Chris Hart and I are going to lead. And then we always end it with the Q&A, the Fireside Chat. I have to talk about tonight's call. It's the Monday Night Power Hour. Take a screenshot if you need it. I get this text a lot. I'm sure other leaders do too, asking about the link and the time. It is the exact same every single week. We keep it really simple. So powerhour.com, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Make sure your entire organization knows about it. Make sure you guys are inviting. This is the #1 recruiting tool we have at our fingertips. I mean, it is fire. It is led by Mr. Bobby Smith, the field president. Chris and I joke all the time. This gentleman paints the vision for what this company is currently doing and where we are heading better than anybody. And then Charles Thompson does the heavy lifting of doing the actual presentation. Typically, there's anywhere from like 400 to 500. I think last week was 600 or close to it, guest on these calls. So when you have a guest on and they see it, they're around that campfire, guys, good things happen. So make sure you guys are spending a little bit of time today getting those invites out. Maureen, I think you had your hand raised.
I just don't think she put it down.
Okay, cool. No worries. I saw it pop up. Okay, cool. So you guys have that?
Yeah, I'm putting it down. Sorry.
No worries. I want to talk quickly about the boards app. We covered this last week. Make sure that as this team is growing, I think we added over 20 new business partners just in the last week alone, that you guys are adding this to their phones. The link is up here. If someone can, I'll grab it real quick and share it. But this is amazing. We added this all the time. Jabari's constantly adding to it. Our upline is as well, from the states that we're in to scripting that we're going to cover today. Chances are, if you have a question about something we use all the time, it is going to be on this boards app and it is free. So make sure you guys are checking this and that you guys have this on your devices. It is an amazing, amazing tool, and I'll throw that in the chat box here in a second. Team social media groups. I get a lot of questions lately about this, especially with all the growth. So I want to spend a quick minute touching on this. Hopefully this is clickable. Okay, cool. So we have several groups. I want to touch on the format of them. The Solar Icons Facebook page. This is what it looks like right here. This is our team page. We did open this up to our upline. So it's our upline and us obviously going down. This is where you can add ambassadors and sellers. This is where we have our templates for recognizing people. We do Facebook Live trainings here. There's a lot of great content, but this is the only place that we allow ambassadors to be on, and we'll cover that in a Q&A here later in this segment. So make sure you're adding them there. The second one we have is the Power Pioneers Facebook page. This is the page that is run by corporate. This is where you're going to have, the CEO, other leaders from other teams, corporate announcements, all that fun stuff is on this page. This is only for sellers only. So make sure you are adding your teams. Don't just leave it to them, because many new people don't know where to go for this information. So make sure you guys are adding them there. If you're not there, obviously you want to add yourself as well. We also have a Solar Icons Facebook Messenger group, sellers only. This is fast paced. This is where we're recognizing each other. We're sharing commission checks, sharing wins, motivations, questions. Make sure your team is on there, but sellers only. And then last but not least, our upline, primarily Reza and Rob, I believe Jabari was involved on that too, created a Telegram chat for Solar Icons. Several hundred people in this group. This group is fire. You want to talk about energy? There's probably 100 to 200 posts a day there. And so I say that, right, because that might not be for everybody. That might be somewhat distracting on that. But so let's say it is for you. It's way too fast paced. You might run into somebody, you might recruit somebody that wants that energy. They want to drink that Kool-Aid. They want to drink from a fire hose, right? They respond well to that. That is an amazing, amazing group that you can add people to as well. And I'll make sure we throw the links on that. Chris Hart, I think I saw a hand go up.
Yeah, I just want to touch on this, guys. These are resources, okay? And what I want to teach everybody here, for leaders and those of you guys that plan on growing a team, these resources are what people should be their frontline resourcefulness as far as their questions, concerns, whatever. If you have a question about the company, Power Pioneers page is where you go. Okay, you can post questions on there. If you have issues, do not post on Power Pioneer. Okay, open up a ticket in your back end, send an email to the appropriate thing. So please don't go on that Facebook page and gripe and complain about something that that may be an issue. If you have questions about team related stuff, seek your team sponsor or seek your sponsor first, or you can go to the Telegram chat, or you can go into the Facebook page. Here's the reason why I say that. We're here to support you guys, but we're also here to grow our teams, our businesses as well. And it becomes challenging fielding text all day long when there's other resources out there. Okay. And so when you see this team grow, our goal is to get to 1,000 people as quickly as possible. We can't create the environment where all questions get funneled through myself, Aaron, or a select few people. There's reasons why these things are such valuable resources. So definitely take advantage of them in those respective situations. That's all I got.
Very well said. The other cool part about adding your teammates to this, guys, is they end up connecting with other people that might not be on your team personally, with the Solar Icons family. And that's what this thing is all about, is building relationships. Like, wow, so-and-so hit it off with John Bobness. Now John is able to answer a question, perhaps motivate that person, right? And that's the synergy that comes from all of us plugging in on these various groups. Okay, cool. So hopefully you guys have that. The next thing we're going to talk about is our training for the day that Chris and I are going to run with. And this is about how to recruit solar pros, right? Show of hands. I see a lot of you video on. Who here would like to have more solar pros on their team and their organ? Okay, good. Every hand should go up. Thank you, Peter. I was worried you didn't want it. Of course you do, right? For several reasons. One is they come over, they join, they plug in quickly, they have deals flowing quickly, if not instantly, because they know what they're doing. They already have a pipeline. They know exactly how this game is played, right? So when you talk about revenue share, you're talking about having revenue share checks very, very quickly, very, very quickly, right? So it's an amazing, amazing area that we need to focus on, at least for those who are serious about team building and revenue share. So we're going to start with 2 peak interest scripts. Full disclosure, most of what I'm going to share with you, or Chris and I are going to share with you today, is from our field president, Bobby Thompson, right? I will give credit where credit is due. This gentleman recruits a person a day in this company. I'm gonna let that sink in. A person a day. Who here would like to have 30 people on your team in the next 30 days? Like, that blows my mind. That's on top of leading the company, everything else he does, right? And so once again, I'll be transparent. Chris and I joined. We thought we knew scripting. We thought we did this, and we do, right? But we would change things. We didn't run with this for the first like 30 or 45 days. All of a sudden we were like, why are we reinventing the wheel? We instantly made that pivot and started to attract solar pros, literally instantly, just by using this language. So credit to him for that. But a great peak interest script. Whether you're on the phone, you're in a Facebook group, your text, your LinkedIn. I'm doing a lot on LinkedIn right now. Is great to connect. You know, thanks for the ad, whatever the language is there on the source. Have you heard about power? Right. And part of piquing interest is getting into dialogue. This is not about spamming information, sending out videos, sending out all that stuff. You want to have a dialogue. You want them asking for the information. That's how you attract versus just spamming. Right. So I send that text, I send that LinkedIn message, I let them answer. Typically, I get the same answer almost every single time. Nope, never heard of them. What is it? I've heard very little. Can you tell me more? Like, it's crazy. Like, they literally will say that. Right? They're a business owner. They want to know what you're talking about. From there, the script I use second, so peaking script number 2, if you will, is, are you open to dramatically increased commissions and stock options of $1 billion IPO? I can't see where it cut off right there. Let me move it. As we scale to $1 billion IPO. Guys, I would screenshot this. I would add it to your phone. Add it to whatever you're going to use. These 2 scripts are fire. It gets the conversation going. By the way, script number 2, are you open to dramatically increased commissions and stock of $1 billion company? Who can say no to that? Like if you have a pulse, you cannot say no to that. And some knuckleheads actually will, which is crazy, right? Not a high percentage, but you most likely don't want to be in business with them anyway. Right? It's almost like a litmus test, if you will, but this is huge. So what have you heard about power? Let them answer. They'll tell you nothing. They'll tell you very limited info, and then follow up with, are you open to dramatically increased commissions and stock options as we scale to $1 billion IPO? You're going to have positive engagement on these 2 messages. You just will. It is a numbers game. You will get some knuckleheads that they don't respond. That's part of it, right? But this is going to open it up to some very, very strong conversations. The next thing you want to do is we want to send them over some information, right? Once they say, yeah, tell me more. Yeah, hit me with it. How do you get the stock? How do you increase commissions? Whatever spoke to them. We have 2 things that we'll share. One is we have created this power credibility script, and this is from Bobby Smith. This is an actual PDF that we made. So if you want this, you can either screenshot it or I'll make sure we get it over to you. I almost never send the PDF. I send the language here, but this made it easier to share for the presentation that we're doing today. Now, this is one of those, Chris, can we keep it real on this?
You're asking.
Okay, so
you're always telling me to take it down a notch.
Yeah. So this one's funny, right? And Bobby will probably see it and yell at me. It's all good. When he first shared this with me, I said, oh, heck no. Like, heck no. Like, my wife, God bless her, she knows if she sends me a text and it's more than like a paragraph, like, I check out. It's too much info. I just can't do it. I can't keep up. And so when I first saw this, I was like, there is no way you're sending this out on a Facebook. You guys see how long this is? Like, crazy. But I wasn't getting results doing it my way. So I pivot. I said, who am I? Bobby's smarter than I am. Let me jump back to what he's doing. Since doing that, the feedback and reaction of sending this novel is really, really good, right? So what do I know? Here's what I do know. It adds a lot of credibility. He has press releases. He has a video in here that shares the economic model. He name drops some of our new like board of directors, new people that have joined leadership for the company. So if you've been in the solar game for a while, they recognize that. It speaks to them. And then he ends with the stats that have made our growth over the last 3 or 4 years just historic. And this is where we crush any other company in the country, right? And so I will copy and paste this. And this is what I send out after we peak interest, after they raise their hand. Everybody tracking with me on that? Okay, cool. Mitch, I'll come back to you 1 second. And one other tool I want to share with you guys, and this was designed by Charles Thompson, right? And this is whatisyourredline.com. Very similar. I always start with the first one I just gave you. If I need some more follow-up, I have someone that's asking a specific question. This is an amazing, amazing resource. This is a static web page. What is your red line? Every other company that we know of so far, it does use a red line model, and we'll touch on that briefly when we turn this over to Chris here in a second. But it's going to talk on that. What is your red line? How are we different? Speaks to a solar pro. This is their language. If they are still interested, and they will be, we then jump into the economic model. And then we have the Power Enterprise for anyone that owns a solar team, right? They're bringing over employees, they're bringing over sales reps, has all of that pre-built out on one website. Like this thing is fire. There are people recruiting solar pros every single day just because of this site. Does that also make sense? Okay, cool. Mitch, go ahead with a specific question real quick.
I just want to say I am a solar pro, and you could approach other solar pros by letting them know that they're going to be basically doing the same thing. They're going to be offering the same high quality equipment. They're going to be able to offer a lower cost to the homeowner, but yet they're going to make a much bigger commission, and they're going to have leveraged income, because right now the company I was working for, I sell a job, I get paid, and that's it.
Yep.
I don't enjoy any of the residuals of that solar system on the house, but I build a team and I'm enjoying the overrides, you know.
Mitch, we're going to cover a lot of this right here. I'm going to come back to you because I want to hear your opinion on it, but I want to go through these bullets that are going to touch on what you're saying right now.
All right, that's all I needed to say anyway. But
Perfect, man. I appreciate it. Another solar pro, by the way, so we can get some insight on this as we wrap it up. But really, there's 4 or 5 what Chris and I call value propositions, right? And this is more advanced, right? Let's keep it real. If you can just pique interest with those 2 scripts and send over the credibility sheet, you're putting yourself in a position to win. Let's keep it crystal clear. This is higher level stuff because we want to train to the highest denominator. We don't want a low level sales team. So if some of this is over your head, still take notes, but know this is here and you can circle back to it. Obviously, we're recording this. But number one, right, what I tend to lead with most of the time is dramatically increased commissions. One of the questions I ask solar pros all the time, if I send them the video and they didn't get back to me, they're not begging for my link, because a lot of them are once they see it. I ask them, hey, quick question, Mitch, on a typical 10 kilowatt system, what are you bringing home? What are you taking home? And I know someone right now is probably thinking, wow, you ask them. Yeah, 100% I ask them that. It's a business owner to business owner conversation. I'm playing to win. I don't get negative pushback from it. Sometimes they don't answer, and it's probably because it stung them, right? Maybe they're embarrassed or ashamed of that number, but I need to get into that because I need to be able to compare where they're at based off what we offer. What I have seen in my experience for a typical 10 kilowatt system is we are a salesperson at tier 2, meaning they ran it themselves, is somewhere in that $10,000 to $11,000 commission range. That is a big number. However, when I ask this question to other solar pros, I have found that they're typically in the $2,000 to $3,000 range, some as high as $4,000. Most are not anywhere close to the amount of commissions that we're paying here. So that is a great way to get their attention, right? Because you can either sell at a higher commission ticket, or you have to go out and get 3 to 4x the amount of deals to equal what we're doing here. Chris, do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, mind if I take a quick step back real quick and touch on a couple things?
Yep.
One, the last slide that Aaron was going through, remember those scripts are for solar pros, okay? Can you use them for attracting regular people? Yes, but the words aren't necessarily going to align with what you're trying to do. So please understand these scripts and this process is for solar pros. The second thing I'll touch on is at the beginning, Aaron, you can go to the next slide, Aaron. Aaron asked how many people here want to attract and recruit solar pros, and I believe almost every hand went up. There's a process for this, guys, and the process is you've got to know this company. You've got to know the industry because these guys do, or these gals do, and where that starts is Monday night, right? You guys don't have to answer this question publicly, but answer it in your head. How many times have you watched the presentation, right? And if you've only watched, let's put it this way. If you've been with us more than 30 days and you have more fingers than times you've watched the presentation, you need to watch it a few more times. right? Because in the presentation tells you all the details about the company and what we're going to cover, and you'll have a really good comfort zone of information to be able to have this discussion. And the last piece I'll touch on is, as Aaron starts to go through these points, guys, this is no longer a text message, okay? You actually have to upgrade it. I would encourage you, excuse me, I won't say you have to. I would encourage you to upgrade the conversation to a conversation, a voice-to-voice conversation. So if you're prospecting back and forth, you're using that script and you have them on the line, say, hey, let's hop on a phone, let's hop on a call real quick. Let's talk through some things. Let's compare apples to apples. And
Got Deborah T, and I also got Bill with a J.
I guarantee you that I can show you a value proposition that I think you're going to be interested in. So upgrade to the conversation or the voice to voice. And this is where you start to jump in on looking at the first value proposition, which is the pound for pound commission comparison.
Love it, man. You know, the other thing too that he just said, I want to make sure this isn't lost on anybody, and I should have covered it earlier. Just being real, I am by no stretch a solar pro yet, right? This team is less than 3 months in formation. Many of you even less than that. Yet I have recruited, I think, 4 or 5 solar pros in that time period. And that's because we're leveraging the system. I know the talking points, right? I'll use Mitch. Mitch asked me questions 45 days ago that oh my gosh, like I had no clue. But I get the information over to him. He can then see it for what it is and make that decision. So I would challenge all of you on this call to not sell yourself short, play on the sidelines while you try to soak every single thing up in case they ask this question. Chris and I know John and I are constantly saying, people, I don't know the answer to that. Let me go find it. I'll hit you back in 5 minutes. Like, there is nothing wrong with that. So if you're willing to lean in and play with this, you can have success recruiting solar pros right now. We had a saying at our real estate brokerage, once they see it, they can't unsee it. In fact, I would write that down. Once someone sees this, they cannot unsee it, guys, right? It is just about getting information in front of them. More times than not, they're going to catch the vision. They're going to hit you back. And that's when you can, facilitate to an upline or someone else that can get you the information you need. John Bobness, go ahead.
2 seconds. Number one, the reason I watched the video so many times was because I wanted those talking points to be immediate in my lexicon, like that I'm talking their language. So please, guys, we have that 15-minute presentation. It still doesn't have the overview like that John Bernauso one, but it is really concise and tight and really good to watch. So as you're doing dishes and stuff, just have it playing. It'll really help program in your brain. And to touch on what Chris said, totally true. It's uncomfortable sometimes to go from a text to a phone call, but I've had 2 guys, top guys, like I'm talking guys that went to another state to train other solar companies. And one of those guys is coming on my team either today or tomorrow. And that guy, he goes, if I wouldn't have had this phone call with you and felt your energy, I wouldn't be talking to you any further. He goes, it's not about, he goes, I love all the details. He goes, and all the bullet points are great. And he goes, and what you're saying is amazing. He goes, but you believe it. And your energy is contagious. And he goes, and I want to partner with you. So all of you guys, that's the one reason to do that one little extra. So that's what I wanted to say.
I love it, man. Great insights. Congrats on the new addition. Sounds like a rock star. So obviously the increased commissions, that is a no-brainer. And in fact, I have not lost that conversation yet. I have not. Number 2 is ownership. We call it the equity program. I was talking to a prospect this morning. I called Chris to get his take on something. I was feeling a little stumped. I hadn't had my coffee yet, and Chris smacked me around. And one of the questions, right? He said it. In fact, he says, I hear this all the time. I love my company, right? They'll say that. And I say, awesome. I only want to get in business with people that are happy. People that love doing what they're doing. Like, that's not an objection. That's a good thing. And so the gentleman, he said the commission thing. I obviously smacked him around a little bit, said how much we were. And then I asked him, I said, quick question for you though, before I let you go, how much of the company do you own? And he laughed. He's like, own the company. He's like, there's only one owner. I don't own the company. I was like, oh my gosh, like you're doing all this right. You don't own like even a little bit, right? And I'll change my voice. He was like, no. And I was like, yeah, see that for me, unfortunately, is a deal break. Like, I'll never work for a company that I don't get equity in. And he's like, you own power? I said, 100% I do. How does that work? Once again, this started the conversation. I don't want to get too far ahead, but this is huge. This is huge. Each and every one of you, as long as you do a deal, you attract somebody that does a deal, you own part of power. You are an owner. You are an equity partner. You need to talk like that because no other company is doing this. And the more we have these conversations, those sales reps at other companies are going back to their owner. Hey, owner Latuan, I want to own this company. What is owner Latuan saying? No, the margins aren't there. They can't do it. They're not scaling like we are. So now guess what? Even if you didn't sign that person right then, they're coming back to you. It's just about planting these little seeds. And you don't need to know all the numbers. I don't know them by heart, but I know there are people on this call that geek on this information. Take a screenshot. Your first install, 25 stock options. First install of a seller you sponsor, 13. If you go out and crush it and you do 25 installs in the next 365, 250. 50 installs, 1,250. This, I mean, absolutely amazing. We all become partners in the company that we work for, which is huge. Chris, anything you want to add on equity?
Yeah, guys. I mean, when you talk to, this is the game changer. There's no local company. I've yet to see a company that's offering this. So this literally, you can argue all day long about commissions. You can't argue with ownership. You're talking about a company that's currently valued at 300 million and going to 3 billion and wants to give you ownership along the way, right? The stock options you earn now, when they go public and hit 3 billion, do you guys understand the wealth that's going to build that for you or build for you, right? When you look at that last slide, if you don't geek out on those numbers, I don't think you understand like the big numbers of gaining stock options at a company that's pre-IPO valued at 300 million, that's going to go public in the next 12 months or so, and will launch an IPO at $3 billion. So take that into consideration when you're talking to solar pros. In my opinion, like that's where you spend your time, because it's hard to say no to that. It really
Chris,
is.
should I share my EXP numbers?
Sure.
Okay, so I once again, stories are what are going to lock this down. When I joined EXP, I think it was 5-6 years ago with Chris. He introduced me to it. I knew very little about stock, other than wealthy people say to go do it. I was not invested in the stock market. I knew next to nothing. But because we were one of the early adapters to a brand new brokerage, same model as Power, my friends, I got stocks just for doing my job that I signed up to do anyway. I was selling homes and they gifted me stock. We ended up getting 16,000 shares, a little bit over, with most of that stock valued at $3 when I first came over at the time. When we sold a large majority of that stock, it was $141. $141. I see Chris smirking. I'm not even going to tell you the number, but you can do the math with a calculator. That was free stock for doing our job just by showing up early. Like I have goosebumps shooting up and down my arms. That's the power of what we're sitting on. We are not stockbrokers or professionals in that stretch. I can no guarantee of what's going to happen. I tell people every day, is the current company you're working for gifting you ownership in that company? The answer is no. So what if our stock does nothing? At least they gave it to us. Like at least they gave it to us. We're part owners in the company, right? John Bobness.
I just said to a guy who's a solar pro, I said, man, I'm so glad you like where you work. I told him the same thing. I said, it's really honorable. Now, he didn't have the virtual opportunity, so I touched on that. I said, maybe if there's, referrals you have outside your service area, maybe you'd consider using us as your platform, and then you'd get a taste of it. He'd like that.
So
but I said, let me ask you, what is your exit strategy? You're a guy about my age. I'm sure you don't want to work forever. I mean, you're probably killing it, but there might be a point where you actually want to take a vacation or something. And he goes, man, I've talked about that. I thought about it. He goes, but you know what? I just got to keep plugging away. I got to keep doing. I said, if you own the company though, like let's say you were an early adopter of Uber and you had some of those stock options they gave builders who helped build Uber. And then when they went public, those guys became rideshare millionaires. Can you imagine being in on that? And he goes, man, I'd love some of that rideshare millionaire money. And I said, that's exactly where we're at. We actually already filed for IPO status in the next 24 months. I said, this is exactly where you need to look at this. And he goes, all right, you got my attention.
Great stuff, man. Facts. Mic drop. I mean, it's that simple. The third bullet point that we want to talk about or value proposition is revenue share. Anyone that's been in my world long enough knows this is my passion. I have seen this change people's lives. By the way, full disclosure, some solar pros, some regular people that we attract have no interest in revenue share, and that is okay. That is okay. our dreams, our beliefs, we can't impose upon someone else. It's a law of leadership. It is beating your head against the wall. And one of the things I love about this opportunity is you can recruit a solar pro over who has no interest in building a team, yet they can go out and be transactional and make a multiple 6-figure to a 7-figure income doing it. So really, really important. However, I do believe once you show this and you show it correctly, it is very hard to unsee it, right? Because even if you don't want to build a team, you're going to build a team by accident. You're going to stumble across somebody who is like, why are you so excited, Peter, about solar? Like, what are you doing? And they end up wanting to join. So it's going to happen. Why not spend a little bit of time, a little bit of bandwidth, and start attracting, right? And so our team has designed, and this is just for our team. Do not share this on the public Facebook groups or anything. We have a rev share calculator. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but I would challenge you guys, if you're serious about this, to play with it. Plug in. You all have the link. If you don't, we'll throw it in the chat to see what the numbers are. Quick numbers, real quick. If you brought over a solar pro that just went out and recruited one person a month for the next year, no rock star status, like this is average numbers, that's 12 people in 12 months, average commission at $10,000. So they're all average. They just sell one deal a month. You are making an override income $7,200 a month, $86,400 a year, my friends. That is what we call mailbox money. That is money that you did not touch. You didn't close the deal. You might not even know the deal where the state the deal came from, right? It's just waking up to that. That is the power of what this revenue share model can do for those that lean in with it. So I do think this is an important tool, especially if you're talking to a solar pro that already has an organization. They already have a team. They get this because they can be like, well, I have a team of 12 right now. So on my team right now, those are the numbers, and we can start to plug and play with that. And we're happy to, take a deep dive on that later if you guys need it, but know it's there. Revenue share is the real deal. It is fire. Chris Hart.
Yeah, I think an important distinction, especially when you're talking to people that may not see the value in revenue share. It's not so much to drive home that they should see the value, but there's a opposite side of the coin of revenue share. And the cool part is they may not want to experience it on 6 levels down, but what they're able to do is experience it on 6 levels up. Meaning you have people, they may be solar pros, but everybody always needs help with these deals. There's things like, that Jabari has mentored deals on that I'm like, holy crap, I had no idea. Lenny's done a solar, a land mount thing for me on a big farm. I had no idea. And the cool part is because we have revenue share, there are people that actually care to help us above you and above them that will give of their time. Why? Because of revenue share. So don't always see it as the 6 levels down. Help them see it as the 6 levels up. That yes, when you perform, it doesn't come out of your pocket, it comes out of the company's pocket, that people get compensated. And when you need their assistance, they're going to be there for you because you fall within one of those 6 levels. So that's a big deal, because a lot of these guys are going out into the field, and outside their supervisor, there's no one else helping them. Good.
It's a great point, man. Really good point. And guys, write down questions you have on rev share. I think this is one of the most misunderstood topics. Like Chris just touched on, it does not come out of the person who sold the deal's income. The revenue that's shared back with the lineage comes out of the company dollar. Like really, really important. There's not a negative on this play. And he just mentioned not only the cash, but they're incentivized now to support you and help you. Like that's game over. The 4th pillar is the financing revenue share. I don't know the sexy name for it, Chris. Maybe you do, but you guys will get where I'm going. They just launched this. I think it's 2 weeks ago now, a week ago, something like that. Our 5th revenue stream. This thing is game over, my friends. Now for every loan that you personally close or with a mentor, you're going to get revenue share of that loan. On average, I pulled the numbers real quick. I didn't have time to make a slide for this, so you have to trust me on it. On average, nationwide, on a typical sale, it is a $750 bonus for every client that you close that uses our financing. An additional $750. We all joined without this on the table, unless you joined in the last week, and we were all giddy, all excited. They literally are just gifting more money. Part of that is because we are battling for that IPO status. We are all owners. We share an owner profit. Like, this is massive. I do not know another solar company that I personally, I can only speak for my personal, that offers revenue sharing on the financing. They don't. Well, yet what we found out is many of these owners of these solar companies have agreements with the loan officers, the lenders that they bring in, where they're getting some of this money, but it's not shared with the person who actually sold the job. We are completely changing that here. So this is huge. This is something brand new, completely separates ourselves from the pack. And you can do it, how John always says, just by asking really good questions. Well, let me ask you a question, John. I see you're closing 8 deals a month. How much are you making on the lending side? Chris asked me a good question earlier of when you're talking to someone. Ask John real quick. How many of those 8 deals are using financing? Oh, 7 of them. Awesome, right? You're getting buy-in. It's conversation. Of those 7, how much are you earning on the lending side of this? Guys, we know the answer. It is 0. Oh my gosh, you're not getting anything? Oh, we just launched, and then you can go right into our value add, right? Simple convo. Mitch?
Yes. I still have 1 foot in the traditional solar company that I'm working for, because I have 17 deals in the process of getting installed. I don't want to walk away from those $300 to $3,500 commissions. So we have a sales meeting every Monday morning. I'm glad they don't conflict with this one. And one of the other guys says, "Hey, I went to interview for another company, and they were going over the how they price, and they were talking about the dealer. There's a dealer fee add-on, not to get too involved in it, that you have to add to cover the cost to get your interest rates down to under 2%, let's say." And he goes, "Their dealer fees were less than our dealer fees." And I sat there, and the owners were like, our owners were like, "Wow, I can't explain that. Maybe we need to renegotiate." And I said, I didn't say to our owners, but I said, there are companies out there that pad the dealer fees to cover their overhead. So that may be the reason why. And it's a father-son team who's like 45 and 70. And they were just silent. They didn't want to say anything, because they knew I hit it right on the head, that they were adding margin that was basically hidden from the commission, because our commission structure is based on the profitability of the deal. So I just wanted to share that with you.
I appreciate that, Mitch. And we're gonna set up one of the future calls on some of this to really break it down and bring in some experts on this. John Bobness, real quick.
Yep, 1 second. I talked to Charles Thompson for quite a bit this weekend, and he kept calling it financing rebate. So if you want to use the term that he's using, it's the fifth way we get paid, he said, is financing rebate. And then that opens up the conversation to then talk to them about, hey, did you know that your red line's not actually a red line? And then that just rocks their whole world.
Love it, man. And then the 5th and final, and we'll open it up to our fireside chat format, guys, is the mentor program. This is one that Chris and I talk about all the time that we slept on. We just didn't get it well enough. This is huge. This is something, by the way, Mitch and I talk about, because he's sold 2,500 solar jobs, 2,500. Like, that's a stupid, sick number, right? He has a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of experience. So the mentor program, when you're talking to a solar pro specifically, we're tailoring it to that conversation, is they can plug into our system. Not only do they hit mentor faster than anyone else because of their experience, right? So they're doing it in one deal. Then they take the test. Now they can, if they pass the test, hopefully, they can become a mentor. So now anyone on their team, they're getting tagged on the mentor deals, right? They're training them, they're leading them, they're making 50% of that commission as well. So now they're able to get paid for their wealth of knowledge, to get paid for their experience. Whereas Chris pointed out earlier, in their current company, they're not. They're just helping people because they're good people. Now you are incentivized to do this through the mentor program, and solar pros, at least the ones I've had conversations with, are eating this up because they view it as, I was doing it for free anyway. I get calls all the time from some new guy, from some new gal, and of course I want to help them, but now you get incentivized to do it. Like, this is huge. This is adding that 5th income stream. Chris?
Yeah, remember we started out with the prospecting, asking somebody, are you open to dramatically increased commissions, right? I'm just going to tell you, prefer the word revenue because I think it plays a little bit better. But commissions is good because they understand that, the field understands that a little bit more. Put that slide back up, please. I want to show you guys something. Guys, write this down. For doing our job. Aaron said that earlier. He said, you're going to get paid more just for doing our job, right? If you look at that comparison for doing our job, right, getting paid more, dramatically increased commission, 70-30, right, where we have control of our commissions, you're going to get paid more just for doing your job on the commission side. You're going to get equity ownership for doing your job. You're going to get paid the financing revenue share for doing your job, right? So if you look at pound for pound, if they did nothing else, cared nothing else just about other than selling solar, like Chris, Mitch, Aaron, John, I don't care about all that other crap. I just want to be a solar person. Great. At the end of the day, you're still going to get paid more for doing your job with the power, aligning with the power platform versus where you're currently at because of what we offer in the commission splits, the equity ownership, the revenue share. So that's a really good avenue to really explore with people if they're just, and I've heard it from people, look, I'm a solar salesperson. I don't want to get involved in all that MLM crap. I just want to sell solar. Great. Let's just look at it from a pound for pound comparison there. So
Great points. And by the way, the little credibility sheet that we designed, that video that's being shared, it does not talk about the team building aspect at first. We're playing it different. We're playing it to the transactional mindset that Chris just brought up. The other thing from my experience at EXP, very similar, the exact same model, call it for what it is not all 5 of these are going to speak to every single person. You're going to have some person, like Chris just said, that is just transactional, want to make more per dollar. You're going to have a lot of people that are drawn to 2 or 3. So knowing all 5 is very, very important because as you're on the call having that conversation, you'll see. You talk about the equity thing and they're not asking questions. They're not tied in. Pivot to the revenue share. You're going to find their hotspot of what's in it for them, like why they're intrigued, where their frustrations are. And that is where you can pour gasoline on the fire. So knowing all 5 is very, very important. Okay, cool. Hopefully everyone here, Mitch, I'll come to you 1 second, got value from that. We are now going to open this thing up to the traditional fireside chat Q&A. I prefer to stay on this topic for at least a few more minutes till we get those questions. Then we can open it up to whatever's on your guys' minds. Mitch, go for it.
There's something else if you're talking to a pro, because most of the competition around here, if I made a sale like over the weekend with my company, we'd be lucky to get an install in December. So you can ask your
say that again, Mitch. I want to make sure, guys, this is it. Say it again, Mitch.
This is really huge because I don't get paid till it's installed. The building inspector has come and we've been paid in full. So I make a sale. Now, a year or so ago, I was getting paid and the installs were 2 months. Now the installs, and they're trying to hire more guys to install, but we're looking at December now, and by time September rolls around, we'll be into January. So if you're talking to a solar pro, you ought to ask him, if you took an order today, how long would it be before it was installed? And if they say more than 3 months, we have a real competitive edge there. And I'll let Aaron talk about how fast they install them. But that's a big deal.
Yeah, great freaking point. Great freaking point. This is why solar pros on these calls, guys and gals, they can drop knowledge of what intrigued them. Nationwide right now, we are 40 to 45 days in install. We've had several in Florida that were inside of 3 weeks. The number one holdup we have is outside of our scope is permitting. And so each location is different. For instance, Chris's took 50% longer than mine did. He's in South Carolina. I'm in Virginia. So some things are out of our control, but on average, and I say that word, I emphasize it, we're 45 days. And so, yes, when you're talking to a solar pro that is 4, 5, 6 months out from a payday, like, no, that is not a fun place to be at all. So they will get very, very excited when you talk about how quick this cycle is.
hey,
Plus they can get paid, we're going to get paid $2,000 after all the paperwork's complete for that deal, right?
Site survey up to 2,000, yes. And we've had a lot of people get that in 3 to 4 days, correct?
Right. I mean, that's huge because I don't get that, you know?
let me touch on that real quick, Aaron. May 24th was when my contract was signed for my solar system. And I just got notified today that next Wednesday, August 24th, my solar system's getting installed. So I'm excited about that. Do the math, guys. That's 90 days. And I had an HOA approval, and I had permitting department that's massively backed up. So to go 90 days with those variables involved, that's really impressive. So keep that in mind as well when people ask, because they will ask.
Yep. That's the value of being on these calls. You'll end up picking up a nugget. I see Lisa shaking her head and she posted that's it. That might have been her nugget that Mitch just said, literally, 12 minutes before closing. Like, it's crazy. You just never know. John?
Okay. Real quick, I got a couple points, but I'm only going to make one at a time, and then we can move on to something else. Lowest hanging fruit. Some of you guys might be intimidated by the idea of talking to a solar pro. I was the first time I talked to him because I thought, oh man, I'm out of my depth. But I also realized that I have, I know a lot of people in a lot of sales games who are very similar industries. All home improvement guys are pretty much the same dude. They go out and they go and drive to people's homes typically. They do a pitch of some kind. They try to differentiate themselves from somebody else, regardless of what the product is. And then they make some amount of commission. I used to sell window replacement 20 years ago, 15, 18 years ago. And I was also a sales manager for the company. And I was making maybe $1,500 on a big sale. So these guys don't make killer amounts of money. So for them to make $1,000 on a deal, $2,000 now, maybe $3 is not a ton of money. So the commission's one thing, but I will tell you the consistent theme. Like I'm saying, all I was saying, the one point I wanted to make was go to anybody in any home improvement industry. They're going to be attracted to this because they get a virtual component. The virtual part is huge. Guys that don't have to fight traffic, especially if you find somebody in anywhere where there is traffic. Oh my God, the idea that it's virtual is just it's gonna light them up like, ooh, that's exciting. I can sell virtually. Plus they're partnering with an expert. So they're getting free mentorship and still making a commission that's almost the size, or sometimes the mentor cut is still better than what they're making alone at their existing company. So that's important to think about too. The other thing, one last thing. They really care typically, good sales guys, the guys, you and I guys, we all want on our team, they care about their customer a lot. So what Mitch said is really important that you think about that, because what I did was I touched on with a sales guy. I go, look, once you sell a job, I know you have integrity. That's why I want you on our team. I know you're a good guy. I know you're a hard worker. All those things are a given, or else I wouldn't be talking to you. I only have a limited amount of bandwidth during my day. You're the guy getting my attention because you're the guy. This is going to be your life. Like this is going to be the last job you ever have. And so in order for you to be on my team, I need to make sure it's benefiting you. But more importantly, it seems like you're a guy who really cares about your client, right? And he goes, my reviews are off the charts. I will do anything for them. I do bunches of stuff for free. I go, okay, so when you sell a solar job, how long does it take to install typically? And he goes, that's a nightmare. He goes, it used to be like 3, 4, 5 weeks. He goes, now we're at 6 months, sometimes 8 months. I go, how do you feel when your client calls you and goes, what do I do, Tom? It's been 6 months. I don't have my system yet. He goes, I do as much background. I try to crack the whip. I try to do it. That is huge because it gives us an advantage to be able to go, look, I know you're a good guy. I know you care about your client. Wouldn't you want to eliminate those supply chain issues and have somebody who has a warehouse full of equipment that can install in the next month or two? And they're like, that would be amazing. That alone. Great point, Mitch.
Solid, man. Solid. You know what? Both him and Mitch were talking. I was looking at. So I have 4 solar pros in my organization that I personally recruited that I can remember anyway. 3 of those 4 I got because of driving, because of what he just said about commute. One of them in particular down in North Carolina said, I go on 6 appointments a day. My company sets 4 or 5 of the 6 are no shows, meaning they're not even home.
Yep.
Like, you want to talk about frustration? I said, oh my gosh, me personally, I do 100% online. How does that work? Like, it started that conversation. I'm in conversation right now with someone, same thing. He is so sick and tired of driving around town for these appointments. And then the other thing too, I saw that PETA got what Bob has said, but this is important, is the location. I'll use Mitch. Mitch is a solar pro. You guys have heard him talk. You can see he's a lot more adverse to this than any of us on this call are. One of the things I got with them, I said, look, stay where you're at with your current company. You got deals under contract. I get that, man. Come play with us at Power for the areas outside of your one city that you service. This is huge because I am a believer. I told you to write it down. I don't care why they see it, how they see it, but once they see it, they can't unsee it. He gets into our ecosystem. Now he's like, dude, I wish I could move every deal over. Like, this is crazy. And that was just by having a conversation. So I wasn't trying to shift him from his company, right, where he has money tied up. I just want to get into business with him. Then he can make that choice for himself. But I know once he sees it, he can't unsee it. You guys tracking with me on that? That is a great play. And you can do it in question format, right? Hey, Rebecca, real quick. I know you're crushing the LA market. When you go and install, Tom's solar project today, and he's blown away and he refers you his mom in Miami. What do you do? What do you do? Oh, I give it to the company and they try to find somebody. Oh, you get paid for that? No, I don't. Oh my God, right? It just starts the conversation. Most every other company is tied to their city. With us, we're not. 22, 24 states. Joe, go for it.
Hey, that was just such a quick transition. Jabari, I hope you like my poster. This is my Hello Sunshine, Massachusetts poster here. My questions are about more than one company, which you started to allude to. Like, so can a solar pro have multiple companies? And also those houses that may have been underserved, or maybe, panels were not enough, or something has changed, or we're able to do something about it. Are we able to add another company's worth of panels to an existing house, or is that able to be transferred over if they were going to do that?
Yep, they need to have a minimum of 7 installed panels from Power for us to do it. That's the bare minimum. But yeah, we do that all the time. The first question was, sorry, what was the first one again? Oh,
For the
can a
Solar
Pro,
Pro.
yeah. So I don't ever want to make that decision for them. Like, that's up to them and their contract. Most solar pros are running from mom and pop shops, so they don't have a non-compete. Mitch, of course, checked his, and he was good to go outside of that geographic region. But I'm not an attorney. I'm not advising them on that. That is a call they make. I just want to get into business with them. But yeah, great question. Okay, what else, guys? Who else? John, go for it.
Yeah, I don't want to be the only guy talking, but maybe I'll bring up some good points. I want everybody to make sure on the call that they're not ignoring the ambassador benefit, because we all who are past our tier 1 training have ambassador links. And here's the key, and this is something I'm doing as a pro tip. So if you guys want to do it, I would suggest you do, because it seems to be getting me tons of great results. I sell why the benefits of the people that are referring me as ambassadors should talk to their friends and family. Because just that $1,000 seems like it's going to be enough, but I'm going to tell you it's not, because they don't really know they're doing something great for their friends and family. So what I do for people is I go, look, you need to understand the top companies in the industry, we're lower cost than them in general. You guys have heard, and I say, you guys have heard of, Sunrun. They're over at, Costco. You walk through Costco, the guy from Sunrun says, hey, come take a look. So you've seen that, right? And she goes, yes. And I go, okay, well, wouldn't you want to recommend a company that's on average 20 to 25% lower than Sunrun? Did you know Sunrun has a 2-star rating with Yelp, and we have a 5-star rating with Yelp? We have a better rating, but we're 20 to 25% less. Plus, imagine helping your friend by also giving them the longest warranty in the business. We have a 30-year material, labor, and more importantly, transferable warranty that has no deductible. Whereas if you go with Sunrun, you're getting a 25-year material, 10-year labor, and God knows what they're going to do when you have a problem, because they're a 2-star company. Do you want 2-star service for your friend? And they go, oh my God, no. And I go, plus you're going to get $1,000 for helping your friend save by as much as 50% off of their electric bill. How can you not want to see if they qualify? Now, I know not every home does, but you're winning, they're winning. And of course, we're helping the planet get greener. Isn't that amazing? And they go, oh, yeah. Plus I offer, by the way, to give them a script on how to approach their friends, family, colleagues, neighbors, anybody they know in any of the 22 states we service. Offer that as an extra value add. And then I say, whenever you do sign up and you confirm your email with Power, make sure you get back to me so that I can send you that script. It'll make you getting referrals much easier.
Love it. On that ambassador talking point, one pivot I have made, and I haven't heard other people in the company talking about this yet, but this is something we did in real estate, is most of the company, from what I've seen, is they're adding a client. So you just sign a solar install, they're going back to that client at install or shortly after to sign them up as the ambassador. And that works. People are having massive results on that. I believe you are leaving so many deals, so much money on the table by waiting that long. I am getting referrals all the time from people who have signed contracts that we haven't even done install, right? So every time I deliver good news, I just got one this morning. It came late last night, like 2 a.m., where yesterday afternoon, we got his site survey approved from corporate. Everything worked out. The corporate email fired. I then reached out. I did a voice text. Said, congratulations. We're one step closer. The next thing we're doing is our engineers are designing it. Just wanted to reach out. Keep me in mind. I'm sure you have people that have questions. I'm here to serve. 2 a.m. I get a Facebook message. Thanks for the update. I can't wait for the next step. By the way, I have a referral for you in Arizona. So every time, the reason I show this, every time we are delivering some sort of good news, I am asking for something positive back. It's the law of reciprocity. When you do something good for someone, right? I reach out to Dave Pard. I coach him up. I help him. I do whatever it may be. He wants to repay the favor. It's law. It just happens. So I would encourage you to sign up ambassadors for your current clients very quickly, if not same day. Have the conversation. They're already activated that whatever the reticulator, whatever it is, where they're already having conversations. Like they're going through that. So why would you not want to help them pay off their system quicker with that $1,000 fee? And then the other thing too, I did forget in the beginning, and I apologize. I want to give a massive shout out to Chris Hart. He broke the team's record by getting 3 deals under contract in 36 hours. 3 deals under contract in 36 hours, which is awesome. Okay, we got time for a few more. James, go for it.
Just a quick note on what I did yesterday. I realized that there was the Old Vale Schoolhouse in Oakton had a Oakton Days meeting, and there were various vendors and things up there. So I walked up, put my power shirt on, took some brochures with me, and just started talking to people about other things, and kind of it came up, right? And had a great time. I actually talked to one of the ladies running it, and she's in real estate. And I said, oh yeah, my wife's in real estate, EXP for 20 years. And she goes, you know, I've wondered about them. I said, here's my card. And I gave her my power card and my little power brochure. I said, I don't have my wife's card, but call me and I'll get you in touch with her and she can tell you about EXP. And she looked at the thing. She said, can you do that stuff too, along with selling real estate? And I said, absolutely. In fact, here's this thing called an ambassador program. You can do your real estate and you hook me up with a customer, you'll get $1,000. So I'm hoping to hear from her, but it's just that kind of a random thing. Literally half a mile up the street, I went to this event and I passed out 12 brochures to people.
It's playing to win. It's letting the world know what you're doing. If I can make one coaching tip, is that okay?
Yeah.
One thing I would do, and I learned this years ago, every time you give someone a piece of information, if you're having a conversation, the point really should be to collect theirs. Because obviously he hit it off with this lady. She might be like, oh my gosh, solar is like, I have to do this. She lost the card. She lost the brochure. Life got in the way. He can't follow up because we don't have that. So that's a really good habit. When you give something, collect it back. She 100% would have given it to him. You can just tell by the
I tried, and she's
okay,
like, cool. I got to move. She's got a bad leg, and she's like, and she just started walking off. But she goes, I'll get back with you. So
Love it.
I could cross my fingers, right? And there were a number of people like
great
that.
job.
It was fascinating, and I enjoyed the heck out of myself.
That's awesome, man.
Obviously, I like talking to people, and I think they sense that I believe this.
Yeah, your passion's been there for day one, 100%.
Yeah.
Any closing remarks or last comment before we shut it down? Chris?
It's me.
Oh, sorry. Who was that?
It was me.
Peter.
I can't see it.
It was Peter.
Peter. Okay, cool.
Okay. You will be highly delighted to know, Aaron, I have 3 ambassadors signing up today.
What?
Didn't take long, but the question is a church residential or commercial?
Commercial. It's nonprofit commercial.
Damn. Even if they're little churches?
I like where your head's at. Yes, as of right now.
Damn. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Yep. Congratulations on the 3 ambassadors. Chris, you want to take it home?
Yeah, just going to, I'll throw this out there. Everybody's welcome Fridays, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm running Master the Solar Script combo dialogue and script coaching. There's no charge, guys. We run it for about an hour. Here's what I will tell you, okay? If you, and Aaron can attest, he's been in my world for a while. If you know me well enough to know accountability is my thing, okay? We do record the calls. The calls are there for people who show up, okay? So, and I didn't put this out before, so anything previous to it, I'll be more than happy to supply the recordings. But here's the thing, guys, if I'm going to give up my time, I'm going to ask for things back. That's the way sales works. The only thing I ask is that, you know, if you show up, that you pay attention, you give it your all, and you apply the things that we teach you rather than make your notebook smarter than what our capabilities are. So if you do show up, I will provide you a recording. If you don't, show up next week. All right. So that's my level of accountability, of holding people accountable. You're welcome to invite guests to it as well. It's there to help you guys build your businesses. So if anybody needs that information, just hit me up on the side and I'll get you the link to that. But it's typically my vanity URL that I know some of you guys have a hard time with, which is chrishartzoom.com. I found out that the workaround to that is if you actually type in chrishartzoom.com into a web address, it works better than if you try and click on it and open it up through the Zoom app. So that's all I got for you, man.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate each and every one of you for hopping on. I think we got as high as almost 30. I think it was 29. Don't forget about Power Hour tonight. It is powerhour.com. I would spend as much time as you possibly can, even if that is just a few minutes, my friends, sending out a few invites to get guests on there. Those calls are so good. If you guys need anything from us, let us know. I will share the recording in a few hours once we get it uploaded to the team's YouTube page. Hope you guys have a great day. We'll talk soon.